G'day dirty mutters. Well, on this episode we're going to be testing the INEOS Quartermaster. Now this one is the turbo petrol version, so it's going to be quite interesting to see how much fuel this uses towing the big Rembrandt caravan at hopefully 3.5 tonne. Well, we're going to go to the weighbridge and check that out and make sure we've got all our weights in the correct spot. But on this tow test we're going to check how the vehicle drives, the power delivery, how it holds gears, and most important that everyone's going to want to know is what fuel consumption it gets. Now remember, this tow test track that we've got is actually quite grueling. It shows the worst case scenario. So anyway guys, I'm going to jump in this thing, hook this van up, and we'll head to the servo and top the old INEOS up. Let's see how this thing goes. Listen to that 6-cylinder petrol rumble. Righto. Now, this being a cab chassis, we can locate the camera, reverse camera, anywhere where we like. Now we've got it right over the hitch, and I can see really well. Hopefully, I've got a camera just behind me, hopefully you can see how good that is in that location. Let's see if I can get this bang on. It's got the little fluoro sticker there. Yeah, I might have to pull forward, but we'll see. Alright, let's see how much this squats down with the standard suspension. Look at that, going on the hitch okay. That's probably dropped down a fair bit actually. Righto, that was pretty painless. Now, we've got to navigate the INEOS out of the yard. It might be simple for some vehicles, but INEOS really need to improve their turning circle. Now, 79 series Land Cruisers are renowned for a bad turning circle, but I believe the INEOS is worse. Anyway, let's give her a crack. I didn't have to do a 3-point turn. How bloody good. I run 91 a lot of the time in a lot of my vehicles, and E10 94. 94 is a good octane, but today I was going to run 98, but I think I'll split the difference because it doesn't actually need 98 octane. So let's fill her up with 95. Plus that's more readily available in remote areas and whatever else than 98. You can get 95 in most places. The tank is reasonably full already, so shouldn't take too long filling this up. But what I am going to do, once it clicks off the first time, I'm going to wait 30 seconds roughly, and then I'm going to go again and get the second click off to make sure that it's 100% full. Righto. Righto, we'll go again. Alright, so she's full. Alright. Righto folks, we've just fueled up at the servo. And now we're off to the weighbridge. Interesting to see how heavy it all is, and it'll give us the exact weight of the van that we're towing, hoping it's right up there close to 3.5 tonne, so we can actually give it a proper tow test at its capacity. Well, we've got to the weighbridge area. The old car isn't doing fantastic on fuel at the moment. I'm not going to cast any aspersions. Could be towing a lot of weight, and we are just about to find out what our GCM actually is. I'm going to do 2 measurements, one as a combined unit, and then I'm going to wheel the car off the weighbridge and only weigh the trailer. Alright, let's go. So it's 6.6 currently. I'm going to pull this so the vehicle is just off the weighbridge, and then we're going to weigh the van individually. The trailer weighs 3.46 tonne, so the van all loaded up is that. So we've nearly nailed the 3.5 tonne mark. How good's that? Well, that was interesting. 3.46 tonne. So we are nearly on the max, which is what we wanted to do a proper tow test. But first, off to the bakery we go for a nice pie and sausage roll. Well, on our travels, folks, we like to try different bakeries around the joint. This is Josh's first time solo filming with us here at DMW, so he's a pepper steak man as well, so we'll see what it's like. Hopefully it doesn't scald our mouth, mate. Hopefully not. The great Country Pies Bakery at Northlands Shopping Centre here in Toowoomba. I don't think it's a chunky one though. Oh no. It's a minced one, I think. It's quite peppery, yeah. Mm. Very yummy. It's actually quite delicious. Can of Coke and a pie. Can't get much more Aussie than that.
Oh, it is chunky.
Oh. Winning even more. Don't breathe in the flakes. Well, we just finished our pie. I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. Maybe a 7. The pepper was quite nice. I'm a chunky beef pie man, so I would like it to be a little bit more chunky beef. Anyhow, we've had our smoko. We are now going to head to the top of the Toowoomba range. It's quite an iconic range. It's very long and reasonably steep, so we're obviously going to head down the range today. So we'll see how the engine braking works. I might flick it over to manual and see how it performs like that. I tell you, the INEOS, look, I love the wagon. You would have seen our other videos driving that. Being turbo diesel, power delivery is a little bit different. It probably had a little bit more torque. But this Quartermaster, being a little bit longer in the wheelbase, it just seems to handle a little bit better, especially with the load on the back. You know, we've got 3.5 tonne practically behind us, and it really doesn't know it's there. Where the wagon, we had that little 13-foot van, it was quite heavy actually, heavier than you would actually think for such a small compact size thing, and the ball weights weren't quite right. It was, you really had to be conscious of loading that van you had to put lots of stuff up the front. We had to fill the wastewater tank and keep it continuously full to have enough downbore weight. So it's a bit of an unfair test. Like, we should have towed this van with the wagon to really get a proper comparison. But as a vehicle, the INEOS is just an amazing built car. They're so tough, okay? Like, when I had the mishap in the wagon, we had no damage to the underside of the vehicle or anything like that. It soaked up that washout. Obviously it got airborne and landed, but the chassis on these things are really built to last, and the diff housings are huge. We've got 8mm thick walls in the tubes. That is how thick these are. So you're not going to bend these anytime soon, you know, carrying extra weight and, you know, having a mishap like I did and hitting a washout, or, you know, let's hope you don't have anything that drastic go on. But you might be on a dirt road and there's a hidden pothole or something like that and it catches you unaware. I really believe these INEOSs are built to last. Now, the steering on these INEOSs are a little bit wild. They don't return to centre. I really think that's got to do with the caster. Now, these don't have much positive caster. They sit at about 1 degree, if you can get that. And you really need 5 to 6 positive degrees of caster for them to handle properly and not get twitchy. In saying that, this particular ute with the longer wheelbase, like I've already touched on, hey, look at this person pulling out in front of me. Luckily I've got the trailer brakes set up properly, and the brakes on the INEOS are really good. So with saying that, the caster in this is sitting at about that 1 degree positive. The longer wheelbase, it is not giving too much feedback through the steering wheel of being twitchy so far. We'll soon find out when we hit the dirt. There's a section that I want to really test. It's coming from between Hampton and Highfields. There's a downhill section that's got some wombat holes in the road, and when the van hits them a certain way, it starts to throw you around. Doesn't matter what vehicle, what caravan, it does it every time. And I really want to see how the Quartermaster performs in that section, whether it gets a little bit really flighty and I've got to press the trailer brakes to pull it all back to being stable, or will the ute actually, you know, handle it and not get out of shape. That's the one place I'm really interested in seeing how it goes. Let's try cruise control. Alright, just hit an 80 zone. I'll just flick that up to 80. You can hear the turbo whistling there. Stayed in 6th gear. Just changed into 7th. At 80 there. Do's in the road here. I must say the gearbox tune in the INEOSs are very, very good. So we just hit a 100 zone, pop her up to 100. You can hear that. Just jump back to 5th. It's accelerating up. I can tell you they're no slouch, these petrols. Go very, very well. Sitting in 8th gear, sitting at about 1800 RPM, towing 3.5 tonne. Slight rise coming up. Let's see what it does. Whether it grunts up in 8th or it pops back to 7th. Up there it goes, back to 7th, or back to 6th. Control's working very well with the load on it. We're on a reasonably flat part of the highway, slight undulating hills, but nothing too major. So we can see it's gone from, you know, 6th, 7th and 8th are its chosen gears for these little hills. Now I must say today is a little bit windy as well, so we're pushing some wind, and we've got some, depends on which direction we're going, we get some side wind as well. So it's not the most ideal, calmest conditions, but that's what it's all about. When you're travelling around Australia and touring and towing your big caravan, you're not going to have the ultimate seasons or conditions to, you know, that your vehicle's going to be in. And this is one reason why I like to take these vehicles on this tow route, because we've got nice highway, we've got dirt road, we've got steep dirt road, we've got some very steep country when we get on the sealed roads again, and then we've got a nice easy run from the north side of Crow's Nest way down into Toowoomba. Realistically, that's a nice easy run for fuel economy, I believe, on the way back. Righto, we're well and truly on the dirt road now. You know, we're sort of averaging anywhere between 60 and 80 k an hour on this road. It's pretty rough. As you can see, there's some potholes, but the INEOS with the standard suspension, it's soaking it up okay. I mean, it certainly needs decent shock absorbers in it. It would change the ride hugely. And obviously here at DMW, we're specialists in that, so we've actually got our GVMs fully federally approved for the INEOS now for both variants. We've got the Grenadier and the Quartermaster, so the wagon and the dual cab. So we've got 4 tonne, 4.2 tonne and 4.5 tonne variants. Now, once you kit your INEOS out with our suspension and our diff bracing and whatever else, if you go the 4.5 tonne, I mean, you are going to have no worries. It's going to ride absolutely unreal. The wagon with our suspension in it is just next level fantastic. But I can't take it away from the standard vehicle. Now, they have done a tremendous bloody job with this. It is going superbly, and realistically, if you don't do a GVM or don't do any suspension, you're going to actually cruise along. You'll be fine. You'll just be standard height. You're going to feel these bumps a little bit more, but it's going to do the job. So INEOS, well done. You've done a cracking job so far with this vehicle. Right, I want to go and see what the INEOS is like on a bit rougher terrain. So there's a bit of a pine forest along the route that we use. See if there's some melon holes or something that I can drag this van through and see how it goes. Rightio, on to some more gnarly stuff. I decided to mix this tow trip up with some four-wheel driving as well and see how the old INEOS Quartermaster can handle towing quite a large van through some nastier trails. Because the INEOS, the Quartermaster, honestly has been soaking everything up. It's better than the wagon. It's just a phenomenal vehicle. So let's put it to the test. Let's see if it can actually tow this van over some mad obstacles. Maybe we'll get some diff locks in. Let's see. Now I'm actually excited because this is actually going to work out if it's a true full-on can tour on the highway and then can stick it to the big boys on the gnarly tracks with 3.5 ton on its freckle. going to make it. Oh, look at that, folks. I didn't make it. What do I do? Well, folks, I've got myself into a bit of a precarious situation. I have the land anchor on at 3.5 tonne on the INEOS. We're on a bit of a lean. Gonna have to see if I'll throw some diff locks in if I'm gonna get out. Holy shit. Righto, how wrong was I, folks, about not needing diff locks and whatever else to get up here? I just need a bit more momentum and a bit of a different line. Here she goes. Look at that. Completely standard tyre pressure. Okay. Wow. Yes, I had to use the diff locks. Yes, I had to do the reversing manoeuvre. But you know what? We made it up. I could have taken 20 psi out of the tyres and it might have walked up. I had to use the diff locks front and rear. So, but that all comes standard. So if you don't let your tyres down, you get into a pretty gnarly situation. At least you now know, put your diff locks in. Okay, reverse back out of it, a nice smooth pace, and you should make it through. Choose a nice good line and happy days. I mean, that is 3.5 tonne of van on a very steep hill with off camber wombat hulls. I think this INEOS has done bloody terrific. And for people out there saying, yep, my 79 can do that, it probably can. Yes, your 76 can do it as well. Okay, your Great Wall tank can do it. Okay, I don't know whether it'd tow the 3.5 tonne up there, but it'd tow 2.5 tonne up there. Yes, there's lots of other vehicles out there that can do that, but I'm very impressed with this INEOS in complete standard form, towing 3.5 tonne of big, massive Rembrandt caravan. Yeah, I'm impressed. Righto, we came down the range this morning and I had a completely different route planned in my head. We're going to come down from Crow's Nest side, but we ended up coming down 15 Mile Road, a dirt road, back down through Murphy's Creek, through some four-wheel drive tracks, and have ended up at the base of the 𝗕𝗢𝗟𝗏 range again. Now, let's see how this thing goes up there. Will it tow this 3.5 tonne at the speed limit up the hill? Doing 100? Mind you, I only just pulled out just at the base of the 𝗬𝗢𝗪 range there, so it hasn't had a nice run at all. We're comfortably doing 100k an hour. It's going to drop to 90 here in the speed zone in a second. Righto, I've just put foot. You could not be disappointed in the performance of this. I'm sure it would have drunk some fuel heading up there, holding that speed though. To say I'm impressed with this performance is an understatement. It's probably the best power delivery I've actually ever driven. Beats the 300 series cruiser, 200 series cruiser, Y62. Look, it's pretty hard to beat, but when it sort of gets lugged down, it just doesn't have that power like this 3 litres got with the turbo. So, I mean, turbocharged petrol engines these days is going to be absolutely the way forward, I believe. We've got no choice anyway. We've got the powers to be telling us diesel's bad. They're putting so many restrictions. They're putting catalytic converters on with DPF and including AdBlue with that. I mean, where's it going to stop for diesel engines? And look, and that's what really put me off buying another diesel, is all the mucking around and everything else that goes with it. If you want some performance, well, you can't get any more performance out of the diesel really by doing an exhaust, like the basics that every person can afford. You've got to go and get it tuned. I mean, in some circumstances, you go and get the DPF deleted, okay? That's not ideal, it's illegal, but it goes on, doesn't it? And people are going to these extremes to try and get their diesel vehicle to go a bit better. I mean, this is the answer, to be honest. Petrol, turbo, it's small cubes too, so 3 litre engine capacity. Yeah. That tore up the range like no tomorrow. I'm super impressed. Super impressed. Well, how about that for a tow test? That had absolutely everything in it, but probably not enough highway. So we haven't given it a decent enough run to maybe have better fuel economy. We've just absolutely tortured this thing today, and I must say, it has stood up to it. Righto, we have been lucky enough to jag the same 𝗬𝗢𝗟𝗟. Okay, 95 we used this morning. We'll go again. Now, I can tell you what it's been telling me it's been using fuel-wise. It's not pretty. Now, it wasn't pretty before I hit the 𝗬𝗪𝗪 range, and then I absolutely gave it the berries to get up the 𝗬𝗪𝗪 range, held the speed limit, 100 at the bottom, 90, and then we dropped back to 70, and then 60 at the top. We followed all the speed signs. This did so well. In the 90 zone, it dropped back to 88k an hour. I mean, it's just pulling that big land anchor though, so I'm super impressed with the power this vehicle's got, how it delivers it. Now, am I going to be impressed with what the pump tells me? It's looking pretty nasty at the moment. Let's count our 30 seconds. That's probably good enough. Righto. Wow, wow, wow. Well, there you have it, folks. We have driven down the highway driven up dirt roads, traversed little mini mountain ranges, lifting wheels and got the diff locks on, you name it. We have bloody conquered it today, and that INEOS has taken every single bit in its stride. All right, the only thing that it can't drive around or over is a service station. Okay, it has used 32.19 litres per 100 on that test track that we've done. And look, it's no ordinary test track, and I really should probably do a standalone fuel consumption test where we drive it a couple of 100 Ks on normal highway driving and report back and give you a proper fuel consumption figure there. But that is not the real world in some people's cases. They go and drive up the beach, they go into their secret campground in their little paradise, and to get to those places isn't easy all the time. And your vehicle is going to be working and it's going to be using fuel. So I really hope you learnt a lot out of our video today, and I really hope you understand that that is a real world test if you're going to be towing something so heavy through some really rugged terrain. And look, we sat around idling a bit today as well when we were filming. So look, it's used extra fuel over and above normal general driving. But in saying that, this vehicle has got unbelievable tech in it. It's got front and rear diff locks. It has got leather interior in this particular model. It's got dual battery systems, and that's all comes standard, which is absolutely phenomenal for a dual cab ute that has got live axles in it. It might not be for everybody. You might think it's ugly, but I reckon they're going to be such an iconic vehicle. They follow in the footsteps of the Land Rover, the Land Rover Defender that shaped militaries all over the world. This is just better. This has got power. This has got awesome gearbox. This has got tough diffs. Everything that the Land Rover didn't. I froth this car, but like I said, it might not be for you. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have, like and subscribe and click that little bell so you get notified when we do our next video. Anyway, really appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.